In this video, we will be tasting and talking about batch 97 of the Ecocha Tea Club, an award-winning Tie Guan Yin Oolong tea from Taiwan. Batch 97 of the Ecocha Tea Club is an award-winning Tie Guan Yin Oolong tea from Taiwan. From our ongoing source of Tie Guan Yin Oolong from Muzha in Taipei, the greater Taipei area. And he regularly enters batches of his own tea into the local Farmers Association tea competition, winter and spring competitions. And this is a combination of two award-winning batches from spring 2023 competition. One of the batches received third place category, which is the top 8%, I believe, of all entries, and the other one was Youliang, which basically translates as Excellence Award, and that is in the top 45% or so of all entries. So same leaf material, basically the same processing methods, just entered into two entries in the competition, and that's the luck of the draw. One got third place category, much higher ranking award than the lowest award given in the competition. About half of all entries are eliminated from competition, so any award is significant in that respect. We didn't know that what awards it won or anything about it when we tasted all of his spring selections. We just liked this one the best. And we guessed it was an award-winning tea. One of the reasons is the appearance of the dried tea leaves. They are very small and uniform in both size and color, basically very well gleaned for competition. So that was somewhat of a giveaway, but also the flavor profile is representative of the standard of quality that they're looking for in the Muzha the Muzha Farmers Association Tie Guan Yin Oolong tea competition. Our in-store batch was made by him, same season and everything, but the way he rolled the leaves is noticeably different. They're much more loosely rolled and bigger in appearance because they're not as compact. And we actually think that's a great thing. That's the way they used to do it prior to these competitions, or at least prior to the modern equipment that rolls the tea leaves now. And part of the standard that has become an aspect of the judgment of the assessment of the quality is how the appearance of the tea leaves is. So they need to be small and neat and tightly rolled. Traditional oolongs, well-oxidized oolongs that are going to be well-roasted, actually can do better when they're not so well-rolled because there's more surface area on the leaf, and that is better for roasting and post-oxidation. Nevertheless, that's how they decided to set these competitions. They have their own rationales that are beyond our experience, so we trust them in their assessment in that respect. These leaves are spring harvest. There is about 1/3 Tie Guan Yin tea strain. That's the name of a tea strain, a tea tree, as well as the name that represents the tea processing method, a well-oxidized and heavily roasted oolong. And 2/3, so it's 1/3 Tie Guan Yin and 2/3 Jinxuan Oolong, or Jinxuan tea leaves, Tai Cha number 12, because of the amount of Tie Guan Yin that's available, number one, and yeah, that's what people grow in that area, mostly, primarily, because it grows the best. It's a lower elevation area. They're dealing with pests a lot more than higher elevations. Jinxuan is a very versatile type of tea. It can be made into many forms. It can be a lightly oxidized unroasted tea. It can be a black tea. It can be a tea made like this. So it is the most solid produce that can be retrieved from running a tea farm, from actually planting tea trees and wanting to produce enough yield that you can work with sustainably. So 1/3 Tie Guan Yin, 2/3 Jinxuan. oxidized, the percentage thing becomes less and less meaningful in our eyes. It really is a kind of relative scale rather than an actual percentage of oxidation. I think this would be considered about 40% oxidation, which is, basically just second to Dongfang Meiyuan as a partially oxidized oolong tea. There are not many teas that are made that are higher oxidation than this, even in Taiwan, which is kind of the oolong capital of the world, at least in terms of variety. And roasted at least 4 times for at least 40 hours. I just got off the phone with my friend who made this to check about the roasting, and he says, yeah, sometimes for competition, I'll do a final half roast just to get a finishing touch on it. He wants to hit the mark, and then they bring it up over the mark in terms of the roast level, because the roast will mellow. By the time that the judges are tasting the tea, it may not hit that standard that they're looking for. So they tend to just try to do it just a tiny bit so that when the leaves mellow, it's where the standard is. Okay, I need to taste. Traditional oolong rules. Especially if you're into roasted teas. I'm fully goosebumping out here. That's what it does to me. I'm a weirdo. I'm a geek, whatever. Yeah, campfire smoke, mineral. When you swallow the tea, there's this tangy aftertaste, which makes one think of fruit. It's a sweet, tangy combo. But it's so well integrated with, well-roasted tea, toasted, a little bit of pipe tobacco, something leathery. These are the terms that often are used, but there's something to them. There's something that's kind of like, briny and rich in its elemental way. That's brew 1, brew 2. Not so unusually, the first brew had definitely a more significant roast note to it. Yeah, it's much more balanced already on the second brew, and I can only assume or guess that the leaves, when they're first opening up, they're just releasing that roasted effect, the surface effect that's on the leaves. The second and onward has more of a fully representative flavor profile coming from the leaves that are thoroughly soaked and hydrated and starting to release their ingredients. There's so much more than roast. That's what I love about these kind of teas. When a heavily roasted tea is done with finesse, you get the roast almost becomes the base, and then there's more a lot more going on, a lot more complexity on top of that. Brewing methods. I believe this pot is about 180 milliliters, and I did just over 12 grams, so that's roughly 1:17 ratio. You don't want to pack the pot too much. You can brew it stronger. It's going to have a bolder flavor profile, surprise, and that can be very enjoyable. But when you make it more concentrated, if the brew is more concentrated, it's less subtly complex. So it's a striking a balance between having it have enough body and that kind of bold character, but allowing it to express itself without muting out other flavors. I feel like it's getting smoother and smoother on the mouthfeel. Two and three seems to be the most balanced and complex, like the most interesting. 2 is really good. Yeah, starting to kind of mellow out. I wouldn't say fade yet. 5. I feel like right now in this brewing, it came full circle from 1, which was prominently roasted with some complexity, and then 5, it's like the roast has become prominent again. I mean, everything is there. It's just a matter of the balance or the presence of these different tasting notes that come through on a given brew. So I interrupted myself. A little more than 12 grams of tea leaves in a 175, 180 milliliter teapot, boiling temperature water. I did 70 seconds on the first brew to let them open up, 60 seconds on the second and third brew, 1 minute 10 seconds on the fourth brew, and 1 minute 30 seconds on the fifth brew. That's just a rough guide for you. You can start with 1 to 15, put a little more tea leaves in if you like it very bold, or if you want to get more subtlety, more aromatic qualities coming through more clearly, go with a 1 to 20 ratio first. Brew it lightly. It is the subtlest and the most complex. You can always add more in subsequent brews to push it to the level that you want to on a given day. So that's it, an award-winning Tie Guan Yin. This guy is really doing well, particularly in the last 5 years ago. I think it's 4 or 5 years ago he got #1, champion prize, which is a luck of the draw to an extent, but it's definitely representative. He has at least 3, on his wall, I'm picturing in my head, I have a photo of it. There's 3 top category awards, which is within the top 2%, several second place category award and third place category awards, and then the Youliang, the award of excellence, which is in the top 50%, 45-50%. So he wins awards pretty much every competition each season. It just depends on what rank they get. 1 to 4 in this mug. Brewed after I brewed 1 cup of tea from each brew, I added the remainder to this cup, so it's brews 1, 2, 4 combined. It's always strikingly satisfying. I guess it's like, you know, you get the best of everything in one. It's also still warm. These were cooled down because they're smaller cups. This is a bigger cup. That is really comforting. I think this tea is very timely. We're offering it in December. It's a really good winter tea. It's complex, it's bold, it's rich with smoky campfire notes that make you feel warm when you drink it. A lot of tangy, fruity stuff going on. I didn't get to talk too much about I don't want to make this forever, this video, the processing method. The unique processing method of Tie Guan Yin is they wrap the tea leaves in cloth into a ball shape and let them kind of steam in their own juices, a very like 60 degrees in this warmer. And that does a fermenting type of effect. They don't really say that it actually ferments. It just allows the juices to transform slightly during their rolling and drying process on their way to being fully rolled and dried. That's unique for Tie Guan Yin. Nobody else takes the time and effort to do that. But that's what makes a Tie Guan Yin different from other heavily roasted and well-oxidized oolong teas. You can read more about it in our blog post. You just search for Tie Guan Yin Oolong on our website, and you can find previous tea club batches as well as individual blog posts dedicated to this type of tea. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time.